And there it is, Rotherwood Mansion in Kingsport, Tennessee. It's not the best picture of it, but with the tree growth, that's it today. Anyway, I just stood here and read an entire article so that these two would know how to share some facts about it, and they were playing with the sticks and the leaves and the walnuts and not paying attention. As if it were boiling. The currents moving so fast the water itself was muddy. The thunder above grew worse, and a movement drew the eyes of the crowd. The casket under its dark cloth was moving. It was vibrating as though something inside wanted out badly. They heard the scrabbling of what sounded like claws against wood, and with a Anne is going to read us a little bit about the Rotherwood Mansion here in Kingsport, and I'm guessing you'll probably want to look that up yourself as well.
Yeah, because I'm going to be skimming because there's a lot.
Yeah, she skims.
This article is called Rotherwood House of Hell, and it's written by Anthony Justice, and this was, when you pull it up, you'll see that. Let's see. We'll get to the interesting parts. In the later part of the 18th century, so I can see.
We'll go over here in the shade.
Yeah. A young man named Frederick Ross and his family inherited a large parcel of land of several hundred acres along the north and south forks of the Holston River. The land ran from Bays Mountain to almost Virginia border, and Ross and his family were very wealthy and were respected in the area. Ross himself would later go on to lay out the town of Kingsport.
Fun fact right there. That's how Kingsport got its name.
Which obviously later became Kingsport, we know today. Like most wealthy families in the South at the time, Ross... Let's see. Hold on. Let me skim on down. In 1818, the work on the majestic plantation house that was Rotherwood, I'll get it out right in a minute, was finished. Taking the name from Sir Walter Scott's Ivanhoe, the house and grounds were truly the showplace and entertainment center of the entire region. Ross had several children, but everyone remembers his daughter Rowena the best. She was the most beautiful creature in the entire area, and she had an education and manners to back it up. Well liked to everyone she met, Rowena had a young man chasing after her, hand in marriage. Ross himself was beyond happy with his daughter's choice and went on to build another Rotherwood across the river from the main house for his daughter and her soon-to-be family. Where's it at?
Burned down. If y'all had paid attention when I was reading it, you would know that that particular house burnt down before anybody got to live in it.
So that house burnt down, guys, before they even got to live in it.
It was an exact replica, only it was white instead of brick.
What she said. And it even says right here in the article, so you don't have to, On her wedding day, Rowena and her family and the groom and his family had gathered before the ceremony, laughing and rejoicing. The groom had several of his friends decide to try their hand at fishing, taking a small boat out onto the Holston. The men were in a plain sight of the house, and Rowena watched. Her life changed and her fate dealt. Rewind.
Slow down and sound them out.
And fate dealt her a cruel hand. The Holston River is notorious for its dangerous currents. Anyways, her husband, soon-to-be husband, or her husband, fell in and he died.
Well, actually, all four of them fell in, but 3 of them made it out. He never resurfaced.
He didn't. It broke her heart. It broke her heart. And they never recovered his body. She was devastated and fell into a deep depression. She would always look out her little window at the river just to see if he'd float up, I guess.
That would be the third-story window on the front.
For the next 2 years, Rowena saw no one, but gradually began to come out again, socializing in small bursts, until a man happened to cross her path again. She felt the pull of love calling to her. This rich man was from Knoxville, and while he was not her first true love, she was willing to try again. She was able to marry him. Fate struck again, and he died.
He had yellow fever.
He had yellow fever, and he died. So she's heartbroken once again. Bless her heart. One last time, Rowena tried to be happy, and she did marry again. And this time, her life seemed to be on the right track. She even had a daughter.
6 years old.
I was getting there. Her new husband, and for 6 years, she finally seemed to be happy. It's unknown how or why, but what was known is how her story finally came to a tragic end. She was back here visiting her daddy, and she said that she saw her first true love out there in the water, reaching up his little white hand for her. So she got in her wedding dress and walked barefooted all the way down the middle of the night, walked all the way out to the water until you just couldn't see her no more, and then she died. And then her daddy was sad. He got into a depression and all that stuff. The once happy Frederick was himself in deep depression. Leading up to the Civil War, he made several business decisions that seemed to backfire. Then later on he sold the mansion to Joshua Phipps, and then he was just mean. I ain't gonna go into all that detail. Y'all can read all that. But
he was a very, very mean man.
Very mean,
cruel.
Yes, to his people.
Well, the original owner freed as many of the slaves
yes.
as he could, but there was still some left behind, and the Phipps guy tortured them.
Yeah, and it was. They said that they're on the 3rd floor. There's a whipping post that was built into the wall, which is very sad. But Ross did free most of the slaves that he could, and on here it says Diana Ross, her family was part of it, and they took the Ross name because he was kind to them and released them to freedom. So, and it goes on and on, but so yeah, it's a long one. That's where Brenda lost us, I guess.
So what happened when the Ross guy died?
Okay, hold on a minute. The fly part?
Well, all of it, really. I mean, so he took ill, and they had him.
They moved him to the carriage house. And
had under quarantine.
Had one of the little slave boys out there with him, fanning him all the time because he was hot. And one day he woke, because he was kind of in and out, from what I remember Brenda reading. He was kind of in and out, and he woke up with just bright eyes, just looking up in a corner. And it said that the little boy turned around and looked, and it was all just a bunch of flies just starting to gather and gather and gather. And then they ended up on this man's face, was going up his nose, and and he died. Then it said that when they went to bury him on top of a hill, there was 2 horses pulling a carriage.
Which shouldn't have been an issue, because a carriage with a casket with a body in it should not have been heavy at all. But they struggled.
Yes. Broke down. They brought 2 more horses out to go up, and then lightning started, the thunder started, and it cracked and hit a tree, blocking the path. And then the pallbearers had to carry said body all the way the rest up the hill there. And then
and as they were carrying it, they could hear like claws inside the casket, what sounded like claws.
And they said that a black dog jumped out of the casket, not really knowing what was going on. I guess they would have called that a hellhound. I don't know, but
they were all in shock.
Yeah.
And then sometime later, after they got thinking about it, they went to exhume his body just to put everybody's mind at ease. And when they did,
they found just hairs of the dog.
Yeah, there was no body in it.
So that's pretty weird. Pretty interesting. It's a beautiful house though. But there's a doctor that owns it now. And they've been working on it for 6 or 7 years, trying to get it back to its glory.
So you definitely don't want to take our version of that as you want to Google that for yourself. But it is a very interesting story. And again, that's Rotherwood Mansion, Kingsport, Tennessee.
how that happened, like being